The line in the sand has been drawn on the Real Housewives of Atlanta. On one side, we have Shamia, Kelly, and Pinky. On the other side, we have Drew, Portia, Phaedra, Cynthia, and Angela. K. Michelle is in the middle. Both sides are playing tug of war with her, trying to get her on their side. It is essentially the newbies versus the oldies. Now, I know when you think about tenure on this show, Angela does not count as an oldie. But in my eyes, and to eyes of some of the viewers, I've seen stuff on the internet, she gives old Atlanta. So it makes sense for her to fall on that side of the fence. Let's get into it. We open up the next day. It is day two of Cynthia's Dallas trip. Shamia is complaining to her sister over the phone about missing dinner. I have no sympathy for her because at this point, if you were able to find somewhere else to sleep that night, you should have been able to find somewhere else to shower that night so you can go to dinner. So I don't want to hear it. Everyone's checking in with their partners and their family and getting ready for the day. Pinky, she calls her husband and she's talking to her husband about the issues she had with Angela last night and the big blowout that they had. She calls Angela the giraffe looking girl, which, if I was calling my man too, because at some point coming into this group, I probably, gave my man a DL on everybody and I'm like, yeah, this person's this person's that. I would have said the same thing, especially now, love Pinky or not. She has every valid reason now to throw digs at Angela. They got into it crazy. And although they walked away saying, oh, I don't want to fight with you, the stuff that was said in there, some of it, it's going to take a while to come back from. So I would have said the same thing. I'd be like, yeah, this big giraffe, bitch. Da, 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 da. I would have said that to my husband too. But she tells her husband how Angela said that they have a third wife living with them. I'm thinking, did Angela say a third wife? I know she said a live-in wife in the basement. I could have sworn she said second wife. So, Pinky, is there something you're not telling us? Did you just tell on yourself? Was that a Freudian slip? If so, I have questions and I want to know more. The girls meet up for breakfast. It's Pinky, Shamia, Drew, and Phaedra. They're asking each other how they slept and catching up. Drew, she confronts Pinky about her energy from the night before. Pinky lets her know last night was last night. Today is a new day. I was like, that's right. Don't let them come at you with the BS in the morning. Phaedra, she gets in her confessional and she's talking about how she's concerned about Pinky's energy. And so the reoccurring theme in this episode is that Pinky is coming on too strong. Pinky is aggressive. I think there's a difference between aggressive and over the top. Pinky is over the top, and I don't think it comes off. It may come off as aggressive to the girls, but I don't think it's aggressive. I think Pinky's just over the top and extra. Y'all are concerned about Pinky's energy like Portia has not been beating up girls every season. Cynthia, you had to fight Portia on a boat. Portia has been beating up assistants in alleys, reunions. Like, let's not act like Pinky is just coming in here like rah, rah, rah. It's the fact that Pinky, to me, and I know I'm defending Pinky right now, but personally, Pinky annoys me. Like, I could not be friends with someone like Pinky. She's loud. She talks too much. She wants to drag on situations and talk about the same thing over and over and over again. I agree with some things that people were saying about her in this episode. Like later on when Cynthia says Pinky's always hammering things in. I do agree. It's like, girl, be quiet. But at the same time, y'all are supposed to be strong, independent, opinionated women. Y'all just don't like Pinky because her opinion is against y'all opinion. Because y'all are also say, actually, let me hold it. We're going to get into it because I have some points for both sides. But yeah, Phaedra's concerned about Pinky's energy, saying that, it's too aggressive and rah rah, like Portia hasn't been dragging anyone. They're asking Shamia how she slept. She's like, I slept over at Pinky's house, Pinky's little house, which I would have been fine with. Like I said, minus the little bit of mess that they had, I would have been fine being in the pool house. I'd have been fine being in Pinky's second house. Like, just keep me separated from everybody at night, too, because I don't have time for the mess. And I want to take my time getting up in the morning. I don't want someone waking me up, hovering over me, trying to turn up, trying to do this, asking for a brush, nothing. Leave me alone. I would have been okay with it. The other part of it, too, is y'all have so many complaints. Oh, we had to sleep here. We had to sleep here. Shamia, you're a rich girl. Go get a hotel. Kelly, I know you're not as rich, but your friend is rich. She could pay for a hotel for both of y'all. Okay? Like, let it go, girls. Let it go. Your concerns were valid about the cleanliness, but y'all are dragging it. But Pinky pivots and asks about Drew's movie and has she seen like the stats from it yet? Drew says no. Like, we don't know how much we made yet. That data hasn't come in. They ask if Shamia has seen it. Shamia says she hasn't seen it, but I think she plans on seeing it. And then they try to squash the beef between them two. Shamia lets her know, hey, I apologize. Drew says, but there was a but when you apologized. Shamia says, I apologize for the but also. Drew, still not taking it. She thinks the apology was BS, just like that mullet that she wore to Portia's house, and just like Shamia's fashion sense overall, child. The girls, they get ready to head out, and we split up into two groups. The scenes jump back and forth, so what we're going to do is we're going to tackle just one group at a time and then jump to the next group. We're not going to bounce back and forth through these scenes. It will be too much and too confusing. So group one is cattle herding, and it's Cynthia, Drew, Shamia, Kelly, and Pinky. Now, I know I'm saying Cynthia, but for the rest of this episode, from this point on, she's going to be 50 Cent, because 50 Cent came out in full effect. Now, although she is 50 Cent and she can handle herself, she brought Drew along to have her back against Shamia and Kelly. And I didn't understand that because I'm like, girl, you can handle them too. You were here as a housewife in the days of the big dogs. You do not need Drew, out of all people, to back you up against Kelly and Shamia. Come on now. Cynthia, she does a cheers. They take a shot. She says that she wants to have a good time, but last night was pretty much not it for them. It was just not it at all. Shamia tells Cynthia, like, look, we were over there by ourselves, so you don't know what we had to deal with over there. And that right there is the real issue. It's not the cleanliness of the room. It's the fact that Shamia has been friends with Portia for a long time. Even outside of that, Shamia is friends with Candy. Shamia's been around Cynthia and all of them. Shamia's been around the main girls for a long time, so it was a slap in the face to her to be put in the pool house with the B-list characters. I'm not saying they're B-list characters, but that's pretty much, you got the main girls, like I said, the seasoned girls, and then even K. Michelle. K. Michelle might be new to Atlanta, but she's seasoned in a reality TV game. You got the seasoned girls in one house, and we're going to put the extras in the other house with the chefs cooking and the dirty rooms and all that other mess. So it was a slap in the face to her because she may not have been on the show as a main cast member, but she's always been around these girls long enough that she feels like she should have some seniority in the group. So, Kelly, she says that the place was filthy. She jumps in and says that. The room was not clean. We saw pictures. We saw little, some marks on the sheets, some dirt around the drain of the shower. Filthy is a stretch. Okay? You're acting like the sheets was brown and all this other mess. It couldn't have been that bad unless there's more we haven't seen. Cynthia lets them know she's doing the best that she can to rectify the situation. Shamia's trying to reassure her, like, we understand that. Why do you think that we're not saying you did a good job? And she's like, because you keep bringing it up. Shamia lets her know, well, you did say you was going to send someone to clean the room, and no one came to clean it. Now, last episode, when Shamia reached out to Cynthia, when they showed the flashback of Shamia complaining to Cynthia about the room not being clean, it was nighttime already. When they got to the house, it was daytime. When y'all got your room assignments, it was daytime. You're telling me you didn't notice the room was dirty until hours later, until the sun set, and then you decided to call her? You should have called her right away. This is not a hotel. There's no 24-hour room service. So at this point, you calling after hours, girl, you're going to have to wait until the next day to get your room clean. No one's looking for some 24-hour cleanly maid, sir. I don't know if they even have that. But, girl, it's too late. You got to wait till the next morning. I don't know what you were expecting. You want hotel service? You got the money for it? Go take your ass to a hotel, Shamia. Jesus. But where do we go from here? Yeah, Cynthia's like, Pinky told me, said that y'all were dragging me, and I'm doing the best that I can. Shamia tries to reassure her, like, yeah, oh, like, we appreciate you. Why don't you think we appreciate you? And she's like, you keep bringing it up. That's why. Kelly jumps in and starts talking about comfortability. And Drew, she's bobbing her head. And Kelly's like, well, why are you breaking your neck for? Drew tells Kelly, first you're talking about the cleanliness of the room. Then all of a sudden it's comfortability. Which one is it? Drew, don't be dense. It is the same thing. If you're in a dirty space, if you're in a cramped space, if you're in any type of space that you don't like and it's not ideal for you, it's uncomfortable. Other part about it too, I will say this. I'm gonna defend Kelly and Shamia a little bit with this. The room may not have looked, the pictures may not have looked that bad, but if I walked into a hotel and I saw like little things here and there and there, in my mind, I'm gonna be like, well, what is the rest of this room really, what can't I see? If I take a black light over this, what am I missing? Is it gonna look terrible? So I'd be uncomfortable too, but it wouldn't be the end of the world for me. I'm not going to sit there and complain and ruin a trip and drag it on like they were doing. So Drew jumps in, talks about that. It's like, hey, which one is it? Kelly's like, girl, like, mind your business. Stay out of this. She's like, you look like the monster on the alien in your movie. And I'm like, girl, at least she's in a movie. What are you doing right now? But Drew fires back. She's like, okay, Miss Proportions. I was like, ooh, that was cute, Drew. It was cute. I don't even understand why Kelly even jumped to attacking her because Drew was like, girl, it's not that big of a deal. You look refreshed. You had a good night of sleep. Like, you're fine. And that's when Kelly threw that insult after Drew said she looked good and she looked refreshed. And she's like, Kelly, y'all want to talk about Pinky. Pinky don't be attacking everybody. Pinky just allows them to speak her point. Kelly just be jumping towards, I'm about to throw an insult at you for no reason. Chow, 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 chow. So Cynthia apologized. She lets them know first before she apologizes because she does apologize to Kelly, but she lets them know she's like, this is not a hostage situation. If you don't want to be here, leave. The problem is they're not going to leave because this is about them wanting camera time, wanting to be in the main house. So you telling them to leave is the complete opposite of what these girls want to do. They are some thirsty baddies. Y'all not in a hostage situation like she said. But she apologizes to Kelly. She's like, Kelly, I'm gonna just look at you and just say this again for the 15,000th time. I hear you. I'm sorry. Shamia tries to jump in. She's like, I'm talking to Kelly. I hear you. I'm sorry. Shamia tries to jump in. I'm talking to Kelly. And Cynthia is like, look, we're not talking about this anymore. Kelly's in her confessional, like, girl, you put us in a side house. You got the chefs in there cooking. You like my clothes smelling like food. The aromas in there. My clothes smell like lobster and steak and stuff like that. The sheets aren't that clean. I understand that part of it, and I also feel like because we're acting like Cynthia's so innocent. Cynthia, it was shady. You was stuttering, trying to get it out that they were in that room. It reminded me of that scene when Phaedra was seeing Mr. Chocolate allegedly, and Cynthia was trying to tell Phaedra and she couldn't get it out, and Kenya had to say it. Like she was just like, so the two girls that are the closest are gonna be in here. Like she said it at the pool house, then kept going. Then we get to the main house. We're all sitting here. So I'm gonna just pretend who's gonna be in the pool house with this speech. No, girl, stand in it. You knew it was shady. You knew they were gonna react negatively to it. So let's not do that, Cynthia. Don't try to act like you're innocent. So afterwards, they try to change the subject and they asked about the gala. Cynthia's not having it. She said, I don't have the energy to talk about it right now. Give me another shot. She takes another shot. They asked about Black again for the 30th time. Drew's like, oh, I love Black. Like, that's my friend, blah, 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 blah. The girl's getting her confession. I'm like, love, love, that's a big word. But I genuinely don't think Drew meant it like that. She didn't mean love like she was in love with him. She was like, I love him. That's my friend. But these girls also, they did it last season. I feel like they do it every season with Drew. They take things she say too seriously. You cannot, Drew is that type of girl. You cannot take everything she says seriously. We finally get to this cattle drive. That's where they were headed. I don't remember if I said it earlier. They were going to see cattle herding, but we get to cattle herding. They're 25 minutes late and they miss everything. It's just some cattle walking down the street. But even if they got there, on time, is that all there is? You just watch the cattle walk down the street? And then they just went to eat. They didn't do anything. The activities on this trip were terrible. We watched some cattle walk down the street for a second, and then we went to go eat. I can go eat at the house. I can go eat anywhere. I can go eat back in Atlanta. Take me to go do a rodeo. I want to see some bull riding, a show, something. We just walked down the street and just went to eat, and then we'll get into the other activity, but the other activity wasn't great either. Now, Cynthia, you could have been a better host here. While they're watching the cattle, Pinky calls Angela cattle, and Drew's like, don't do that. Don't do my girl like that. Drew, go ahead and defend your friend. But as I said, Pinky and Angela had some really harsh words for each other. So all the shade they want to throw at each other afterwards going forward is justified. They said some things you can't come back from right away. The girls walk down the street, they're walking around town, they see a live bull, and they take a picture with the bull. Pinky announces for the 10,000th time that she's vegan, and we get a montage of her talking about she's vegan while the girls are taking pictures. Now, I will say, as much as Shamia's sense of fashion is tacky, she was eating up them poses on that bull. She looked good here. She was eating up them poses on that bull. She really was. Though the girls, they go and they get food in town. They're at this restaurant, everyone's ordering, and Pinky, she has to just get fries because she's a vegan. Now, I do understand, Pinky, but girl, you are in Texas. Like Cynthia said in her confessional, you are in Texas. There is meat. It is like the meat capital, okay, of the world. I don't know what you were expecting. The other side of it too is if you're a picky eater, and I'm not even a picky eater, when I'm going to places, I look at the menu ahead of time. You telling me you couldn't be like, girl, where are we going to eat at? Oh, let me check my phone to see what they have here so I can see if there's anything I can eat here. And there's no way, and it could have been, but there's no way all you can get was fries. I'm sure they had salads, something else you could have gotten too. But yeah, you should have looked ahead of time because I do that and I'm not even a picky eater. So as they sit down and eat, they're talking and chatting. And Drew talks about how she was a vegan and almost went to the hospital because of her being a vegan and it had something to do with her blood type. We end up finding out Drew and Shamia have the same blood type. Drew is pretty much like, oh Lord, if something's happening to me, I'm going to have to call you to save me. And Shamia's like, yeah, I will come save you because Shamia just wants to be accepted and liked by everybody. I'm with Drew. When Drew got in that confessional and was like, Shamia will make an announcement about it, turn it into a parade, and then twerk on the blood. And I was like, absolutely. Shamia tells her, I will give you blood, but you have to do one thing for me. She was like, what, Shamia? You have to say sorry. Shamia, you want Drew to be your friend so badly, you need to let it go. Drew, as long as Drew is with them other girls, Drew does not see it for you. Drew lets her know. She's like, well, let's do it at the same time. Because Drew don't care. This is all just a game to Drew. They stand up and they start hugging and they're about to say sorry. And then Drew was like, well, let's not do the mommy gang up. And I'm like, Drew, here go Drew, being dramatic. And this is why you can't take anything Drew says seriously. Drew, Shamia and her mom did not gang up on you. Shamia's mom came up there and said a prayer and was speaking in tongues trying to get y'all to make up. That was not a gang up. And even when you were saying your side, she stood there and listened to you. She didn't argue with you. She didn't do anything. She just started praying for y'all. So stop it. So then Shamia catches the shade And she's like, girl, like, you can't do that. You can't be ready to say sorry and then bring my mom into it. I'm like, Shamia, open your eyes, girl. This girl does not really care about you. Child. But 50 Cent is over it today. She is tired of it. They're standing there talking. She was like, ladies, we're in this restaurant right now. Sit down. So then, tired old Kelly gets in her confessional and she goes, oh, it's like a Destiny's Child breakup, but we know who Beyonce is and we know who Latoya is. And Kelly, you're not even in the group. You're a fan in the crowd. Enough said. So Cynthia and Pinky, they get into it next. Cynthia wants to know what happened the night before. She's like, Pinky, I walked away for 2 seconds to go talk to the rest of the girls, to go check up on them. And I come back, and you and Angela are in a full on battle. Pinky says that Angela said that I seemed bothered, and 50 Cent said, oh, you were bothered. I was like, ooh, okay. So Pinky says that she's beneath her tax bracket. Here goes Kelly trying to jump on a bandwagon and throw some shade. I'm like, girl, they are going to eat you up. Let me not even say, I'm going to hold that to the end. They actually may not eat Kelly up. The way she held her own at the end, because I can't stand her, but she was holding it in there at the end. She may be okay at the reunion, but then again, I don't think it's one thing to go one on one with these girls. At the reunion, girl, as much as you've been running your mouth, it's they gonna be swinging you for your life, girl. It's gonna be like a 6-on-1 with all the crap you have talked about everybody, including your own friend Pinky. Child. But yeah, Pinky's like, oh yeah, like you were bothered. And so she's like, she's beneath my tax bracket. And like I said, Pinky has the right to throw jabs. But at the same time, I feel like Angela does have you bothered because I cannot recall how many times I know Angela has spoken about Pinky a few times in this episode, but I feel like Pinky has done it more than Angela has. You seem way more bothered than her, and when Angela does it, it's just like a oh, I'm gonna throw some shade real quick and keep it moving. Pinky, you're just like Angela. Oh, she's a giraffe. Oh, she's this cattle animal. Like it just feels like you gotta do it harder to her, while she's just like Pinky's whatever. She broke. She got a living. Ooh, child. She got a living wife in the basement. Like Angela's doing it casually while you seem more worked up when you do it. Relax and throw your shade. Relax. So they start going back and forth. Cynthia is like, Pinky, you made some of us uncomfortable. Drew jumps in and she goes like, your intention was good. And Cynthia goes, intention and delivery are two completely different things. They start going back and forth, and Pinky's trying to explain to herself, saying, I talked to Shamia and I talked to Callie, and Cynthia's like, yeah, you talked to them too, but you didn't have the full story. There's more than one piece to a puzzle, and you came in hot. And she's right. And she's right. And so she goes, well, they say my tone was aggressive. Cynthia's like, 50 Cent said, it was curt. Cynthia was fed up today. She was fed up, okay? And so they're going back and forth, and then Drew calls her aggressive, and then Pinky is like, girl, you we don't need your opinion, something, something, something. And so this is my issue with Pinky. Pinky dominates every conversation. Cynthia ends up saying it at the end of their argument. She did it here. She shut things down at her charity event. Okay? She was fine with Drew at this table when Drew said, oh, like your intention was good. When Cynthia was like, no, intention and delivery are two different things. She was fine with Drew then. But when Drew says something that's not in agreement with what you are, with what you think, you want to insult her. If it's not her way, she doesn't want to hear it. She's controlling, and that's why she doesn't want to let her husband help her with his bankruptcy, because she wants complete control of everything. And so, yeah, it's just Pinky. She just has a dominating personality, and sometimes that just does not work. You can't control every single situation. My other thing with Pinky is, too, and we get into this later, Pinky sits there and talks about how, oh, I'm not friends with that many women. I just honestly like hang out with my husband. People who do that, people who go, oh, I don't have girlfriends, or I only hang out with guys, or even in the gay world, I don't hang out with gays and stuff like that. I have friends from all walks of life, male, female, non-binary, gay, straight, black, white, Asian, whatever. I don't sit there and go, oh, I only hang out with this type of people. I only hang out with this type of people. It's all about personality. If your personality gels with mine and your life is not chaotic, we could be friends. So the fact that when people say that to me, it's a red flag, and typically you're the problem. If a group of people don't want to hang out with you, and I don't mean a group like a friend group, but if you're saying I can't hang out with a broad group of people based on gender, race, color, whatever, you're the problem. Pinky, you're the problem. Like, so you're aggressive, not aggressive. You're not aggressive. You're this. Look, they're putting a narrative in my head. You are over the top, and you are controlling, and nobody wants to be around that. So now we get to group two, and the group two, they're going to go see a horse at a stable, and the horse is going to do, what was it called, dressage, which is pretty much horse ballet. They say it's harmony between the rider and the horse. You ride around on a horse, you prance around, do tricks, give it commands, all that other stuff, like a show horse. So Kay, they're still at the house. This is before they left. She has glam and she's feeling like herself. My thing is, glam and her not having glam last night, her face looked the same to me. I didn't understand what the difference was. I feel like she's just very nervous being on Housewives, and she's like internally doubting herself. It seems like she has like a lot of insecurity, which is understandable. Everyone's insecure about, certain aspects of their life, but I feel like she has a lot of internalized insecurity. And now that she's on this, what we call a higher platform than what she's been on before, she's very nervous and she doesn't know how to handle it. She comes in, her and Portia are sitting there greeting each other. Portia's asking how she's doing. She's like, I'm good now. I have my glam. And Portia lets her know, like, you can come around us, barefaced, no makeup. You can be comfortable with us. And I don't think she understands that yet. There's a lot of chaos happening around her, but I don't think she also understands the sisterhood of it, because in her previous shows, there was no sisterhood. Them girls were just fighting, and they weren't friends. Versus here, I think she needs to get used to the fact that, like, we're going to fight, but we're also going to come together when some serious stuff is happening. Just like how all the girls came to see her when she was in the hospital. So, everyone's sitting there before they leave. We have Portia, Phaedra, Kay, and Angela is not downstairs yet. So frickin' Frack says that Pinky does too much, that she's too rah-rah. And Portia tells her, like, Portia's like, girl, she probably needs some meat. Which is probably true. Because when Portia was a baby vegan, I feel like that's when she was getting into all those fights during her baby vegan phase. But like I said, they have no reason to be judging her, because Pinky is just like the rest of y'all. She's strong and opinionated. She's annoying and over the top, but she's strong and opinionated. And I don't like the narrative that we're calling her aggressive, even though I almost accidentally did it 5 minutes ago. It's a Freudian slip, child. But Kay starts defending her, and she lets them know, like, her passion may come off as aggression. And when it comes to her friends, she's going to go hard for them. As they're having this conversation, Angela walks downstairs, and Angela looks like a damn fool. Did they not tell you where y'all were going? Or why are you wearing a dress with your size 13 shoe looking crazy right now while everyone's wearing, appropriate clothing to go to a horse stable? Like, you look like a fool. It's not cute at all. So they're going to go see, like I said, this horse ballet thing is dressage, and Phaedra talks about how she did it when she was a child, because Phaedra's done everything. She's done dressage, she was a lawyer, she's worked at a funeral home, she was a wig curler, she did your taxes, she was a surfing instructor, she was a chef, she was an insurance broker, a realtor. Phaedra done did it all in her life, okay? But the girls head out, and they're dancing and having fun in the car while the other girls is fighting for their life in that Sprinter van. They ask K. Michelle about Drew, and I feel like in this situation, they're trying to force drama to happen. Let things happen naturally. If K Michelle beefs with Drew, she does. If she doesn't, she doesn't. If she falls out with somebody else, she falls out with somebody else. But this just felt so forced. So Kay says that this is her second time seeing Drew. She doesn't really know her. So exactly, you don't need to. You shouldn't have an issue with her. Portia, she's trying to instigate it though, and says it's weird that Drew said that you knew Black. It was not weird because when we saw that flashback and Drew held the phone up and was introducing him to everybody, K Michelle was like, "Oh, it's so nice to see you." Blah 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 blah. The conversation felt so casual. So if I was Drew, I would have also thought that she knew Black. Cha. Then Kay is like, "Oh," and then the way she pointed her finger at me, which she didn't. And here we go. I'm like, y'all are trying to force some drama right now. And Kay, you sitting here acting nervous, but let's see how you act when you get into some confrontation. Because I'm really curious to see how that works. You're not going to go through this whole season unscathed, not having confrontation. But then Kay Michelle goes, Drew is trying to imply that I've messed around with Black and I'm a married woman. And am I missing something? Did we see Drew try to imply that? Because I didn't see that with my eyes. I didn't hear it with my ears. Maybe it was some unseen footage that we'll get at the reunion, but I did not see that at all. All she said was, "Oh, you know Black," and you said, "No, I don't know him." The other part about it is too, I don't know why K Michelle is so worked up about them saying Black, was trying to come on to her and all this other stuff. Okay, you are famous and you are good looking. Whether it was Black, whether it was Turquoise, whether it was Tim, John, Damien, Brad, I don't know. Whether it was anybody, guys are going to hit on you and girls. Like, hey, you are a good looking, rich, famous, talented person. It's going to happen. So I don't know why you were acting like this is some shocking accusation. How could they say this? I'm sure there's worse happening in your DMs than Black sliding in. We get to this equestrian place. I don't know if you call it equestrian place, a stable, a barn. We get to the place, to the destination. And we have a baby Karen Huger hosting the event. She's the event coordinator. I was like, she looked like a young, refreshed Karen Huger. They start talking, and one of the instructors is talking to them about the horse. And then the horse jumps and the girls scatter. Next thing you know, Phaedra is on the ground after the girls scatter. I'm like, girl, horror movie 101, do not fall. And Phaedra, you're the one who has experiences around horses. Why would you fall next to a horse? You got to be aware of your surroundings because had they not been able to gain control of that horse, Phaedra would not have been able to get up quick enough and she would have got trampled. Like that, that could have been real dangerous and that could have went real wrong real quick. Angela jokes that they stole too much of the horse hair, and the horse probably got excited. The horse probably sensed the horse hair and thought y'all was some female horses and was like, "Ooh, a female, let me mate or something." It probably got excited thinking y'all was one of them too. Ooh, I got excited. Hello? So they watched the rider do the dressage routine with the horse as Phaedra explains it to them. Then the dressage lady comes back. Like she about to get 8,000 different names because I don't know what you call it, but she comes back and she's like, "Hey, like, do y'all want to try it? Y'all want to get on the horse?" They're like, "No, no, no." She's like, "You can just get on the horse and take a picture if you want." They're like, "No, no, no." And I just felt like it was very tacky. Like, what did y'all come out here for? Angela, I knew she wasn't getting on anything with that dress. Portia, it would have been risky for her to get on with that top because her boobs are about to come out any moment. But regardless, it was just like, what did y'all come out here for? Just to stand around, talk, and eat? And I hate when I'm the type of person, when I go on vacations, if I'm doing like an excursion or an activity, I want to actually do something. I'm not going around just to stand around and look pretty and then eat when you can do that anywhere else. Now, I do want to eat. I want to try new foods and things, but if I'm going to do an activity, I'm going to fully do the activity. It just felt kind of like y'all wasted this lady's time too. Like she rode around on a horse for 5 seconds for what? I feel bad wasting her time. But after that, the girls they do an Italian wine tasting in the stable, which was another flop. I'm like, why are y'all doing this in the stable? Y'all have this big venue. Y'all could have done it out on the grass. Y'all could have done it out on the dressage track for all I care. But y'all had to be inside of the stable. I would not have been there for that. Not at all. But they do have a good time. They drink and they laugh. And K Michelle, she is starting to feel more comfortable around them. So after both events, the girls they head home and prepare for dinner because this is all we're doing on this trip is just walking around and eating. We're not doing anything else. 50 Cent is exhausted from fighting all day, so she needs to take a nap. Drew checks on her and they start talking about Kelly and Shamia. Finally, their rooms are clean, so we don't have to hear it. Cynthia recognizes that there's a bigger issue than rooms being dirty, and she finally acknowledges that they're mad about the fact that they're not in the main house. They're not in the main house with the main girls, and I can understand Shamia being more mad because, like I said, Shamia has had tenure with these girls. Shamia has known these girls for a decade, for over a decade, maybe decades, some of them. But Kelly, girl, you was always gonna be in a side house. You're new here. You're new here. Like people barely like you, and Kelly needs to be careful with the bridges she burns too because she's talking bad about all these girls. She may get to a point where these girls really don't want to mess with her, and they're like, "Girl, we're not friends with you like that." Versus Shamia will be okay at the end of the day. Even if her and Portia fall out, Shamia has Candy. I think Shamia and Cynthia will always be okay. Shamia and Phaedra, because I feel like Phaedra is gonna just go with Portia, but like Shamia has more chances of like recovering than Kelly does in this group. So you in danger, girl. Which I don't care. Bye, Kelly. So, but Cynthia and Drew, they were spot on about Shamia. She covers her insecurities with joking and twerking. They end up mocking Shamia and her twerking, which is funny because then we fast forward to when they're getting on a Sprinter van and Shamia's doing exactly what Drew and Cynthia were mocking her about. Twerking, telling us shots, which, hey, if that's what she wants to do, it's fine, but it's just the intention behind it. It's veiled behind insecurity versus you're just a naturally fun person. Pinky, they say that she's an energy police. She's the energy police, and she's draining. I don't think I won't say she's draining. You can get tired of her, but she's definitely the energy police. Like I said, she thinks she can just control everything. Drew says that Pinky inserts herself in everyone's drama, but my thing is, like I said earlier, also Pinky is doing the same thing, and I didn't say this part. Pinky is doing the same thing that Angela is doing. This part said, y'all just don't like that Pinky is doing it and it's against what y'all are saying. Angela is doing the same thing, inserting herself in everyone's drama, but it's okay that Angela is doing it because Angela is on y'all side. It's a double standard. It's a double standard. Pinky and Kelly, they're meeting in Pinky's house, and Pinky is always yelling. Not Pinky, Kelly is always yelling. Kelly will give me a headache if I was around her in person. I'm like, girl, I'm a loud person too, but at some point I'm like, girl, shut up or don't come yelling in my face as soon as I open the door. Because I would have closed the door right in her face and be like, anyways. And that probably wouldn't have worked. Her voice would have probably blew the door back open, blew the door off the damn hinges. Girl. But Pinky, she says she's mindful of energy and this is a new thing for her being around all these women because she's used to hanging out with her husband. And like I said, anyone who doesn't have friends and they're like, oh, I only hang out with these people or I only hang out with this one person, extreme red flag. I don't care what the excuse is. I don't care what bad situations you've had in the past. The fact that you can't develop new friends over the course of a lifetime is a big red flag for me. So Kelly, while they're talking, they're just like, I don't understand what's going on with these girls. And Kelly's like, well, they don't have things going on in their life. Like we have our businesses, we have families, blah 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 blah. Say what you want about all these girls, but all these girls do have things going on in their life, Kelly. You're crazy delusional for saying that. All of them do. They all have businesses, they all have families. Let's not do that. So then she goes, and Angela laid on her back. Y'all talking about Angela laying on her back, but Shamia didn't? Because what does Shamia have? You're all the stuff they're talking about. Shamia does not have a business going on. She got a family, but Shamia has no business of her own or money. All of that stuff is Gerald's. So, girl, you're talking about your own friend. Like I said, it's double standards on both sides. They mad at Pinky for get into everyone's business when Angela's doing it. They're saying that Angela is laying on her back and not doing anything else when that's definitely what Shamia is doing. Come on, y'all. Come on. So the girls, they end up getting on a sprinter bus, and everybody is struggling to get on this bus. They need like another step there because that step was pretty high for them to be wearing heels and tight clothes and stuff like that. Shamia announces the room is clean. She gets excited. She's like, "Turn up, shot o'clock," and the girls are laughing because they're like, "See, this the shit we was talking about behind your back." But they laugh and they're having a good time and they're talking about their day. And Cynthia, she starts a game. She's like, "Tell us something that you didn't know about someone on here that you know about them now." K. Michelle says that Phaedra is nice. Angela says that Portia is a key. Shamia tells K. Michelle that she understands her hesitation about being in girl groups. And it stems from a conversation they had the previous night when they were sitting by the pool. And like I said, I think that's why I feel like I understand K. Michelle had this traumatic experience, her previous reality TV shows. And I feel like her coming into this, it's a completely different ball game and she doesn't know how to handle it. So she's still trying to feel things out, but Shamia pretty much lets her know that thank you for opening up. I see like a new side of you. Kelly, she jumps in and she's like, "Well, I appreciate everyone for coming to the grand opening." And then here comes Angela. Y'all are sitting here talking about, I don't mean y'all, but I mean them. They are sitting here talking about Pinky being messy and Pinky being everybody's business. Angela, she goes, "Oh, who didn't come though? Did everyone show up?" And when Angela was there. And then we get a flashback of Angela even being more messy when she called Portia and um passed the phone to Kelly. Angela is worse than Pinky. Pinky just has a strong opinion about things. Angela's being intentionally messy and causing chaos. Pinky's chaos is unintentional. Pinky's chaos is unintentional. But yeah, so that start kicks everything off. Kelly is like, "We know who wasn't there." And while Kelly is saying, "We know who wasn't there," Portia's like, I thought that was hilarious. I thought it was childish. It was very much childish, but I thought it was hilarious. Now, I'm going to save my opinions for this argument at the end, actually. We start getting into the whole, argument of everything. Portia's talking about how you said that you didn't want to get flowers, broken flowers to a broken girl, and they start getting into the whole marriage situation of it all. Portia's pretty much saying like, "You threw the first stone, I threw it back and said it to you." Sh Kelly is like, "Girl, no, you're projecting on yourself. I did not sleep with a married man." And she's like, "Who is this married man?" And so Portia's like, "You know what? That's fine. Let's air it all out." Phaedra jumps in and she's like, "No, no, 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 no. We're not going to air this all out right now. Like, this man has a family. I know this man. I'm not going to ruin his reputation." Well, honestly, you need to air his spot out because whether you know this man and his wife, you're supporting the fact that he cheated and you're hiding it. Phaedra, did you tell the wife? Because if not, that's very shady. Allegedly that someone slept with, your friend who's married slept with somebody else, cheated on his wife. You're not gonna air it out on TV. I hope you're telling the wife behind the scenes. He needs to be aired out. He's a dog for cheating. He needs to be aired out. But it's also and it's unfair to Kelly. Kelly get on my nerves, but I'm siding with her, and it's unfair to Kelly. You cannot accuse someone of something and then not reveal the source, not reveal who's involved, and not give them the details. That's so unfair. How do you fight that? You know, Chill. But Kelly, she's like, "What is this?" Because Portia starts going through the motions of this ridiculous story, which is so ridiculous. And Kelly's like, "What is this to be Tyler Perry plot?" And so they start throwing things in each other's faces. They start throwing in finances. Kelly's like, "You need to worry about that lien that's on your home." Portia is like, "Girl, you need to worry about your businesses and try to keep your businesses. And didn't you lose a home?" And then she's like, "Girl, that's why you should have signed a prenup. Because then you could have got some money, kept the business, and kept the home. Kelly fires back. She's like, "Girl, I know that's what you did because you didn't marry for love. I did." And then Kelly gets it just starts getting raunchy. Kelly is like, "You have sucked and scissored and screwed everything in Atlanta." And Portia was like, "You wanted to scissor me." Kelly goes, "Girl, I did not want to scissor that hot," she said, "that hot chili cheese Frito cat. I do not want to scissor you." It was so vulgar. I gagged. I gagged. Now, like Kelly or not, because I have been dragging Kelly this entire season, this is what I wanted right here. Because low key, Kelly was getting her together. I do not like Kelly, but Kelly was getting Portia together. Every time Portia says something, Kelly had to come back for it. I was actually proud of her. I was like, okay, okay. And this is why I was saying, like, all the crap all this mouth that she's had, I hope she can keep this up at the reunion when it's 16 on 1, because you're talking about everybody. But yeah, I was proud of her. She definitely ate her up there. Not ate her up, but she got her together. She got her together. But I'm more inclined to also believe that Kelly tried to sleep with Portia than this whole married man story. Because we know how Portia get down. Portia be trying to turn all these housewives out. So that I'm more inclined to believe. But we'll see where this goes next week because we got left on the to be continue, which I don't know why they do these things. What's the point of a to be continue? It wasn't that jaw dropping or that like, oh my God. But it was a cute episode. Not even a cute. This was a good episode. Let me give Atlanta their flowers because the last few seasons have been trash. The last like maybe 3 seasons, they are really stepping it up this year. The only thing is I feel like some of this drama is forced. Like we're trying to force the K Michelle drama. Angela is trying to just force everything. It's like just let things happen naturally. Drama's gonna happen naturally. But it's still good. Let me know what you guys think. Bye y'all.